I thought it was New Zealand.
No, it's Canadians. No, Ryan and I were working on this project called Six Gun, and we started talking about ideas. And one of the things that really fascinated us was like Paris during Nazi occupation. We looked at these pictures of Parisians, sitting in nice clothes in sidewalk cafes, drinking espressos while Nazi stormtroopers were going by. And we thought, wow, that's really interesting. The incongruity of people's efforts to maintain the normalcy of their lives under this extraordinary circumstance and incredibly repressive regime. Could we take that idea, translate it into a contemporary setting, and use that as a kind of a world for storytelling? And that was what we did. So we came up with this idea that LA has been colonized by this mysterious invading force that may be Canadians, maybe not, and they have built these 300-foot metallic walls, close everybody in, and the rules of society have all been upended. And it's about this family with Josh Holloway and Sarah McCallis as the married couple who are trying to navigate that world and figure out how they're going to survive.
How much of that invasion are we actually going to see? Is it going to be in flashbacks throughout the season?
More, I would say more war stories than anything else. It was a very recent and kind of traumatic event for everybody, and it obviously changed the world in a big way, and everybody kind of deals with it in their own way, but it's much more interesting to us to see the character impact than the actual, the visuals, the revisiting it visually is less interesting than seeing how it impacts your characters and how they talk about it and how it's affected them and the choices they make now today based on that.
But there's certainly, the physical environment reflects massive changes. There are very few cars, there's these big walls up, there's lots of signs and propaganda from the occupation, there's resistance propaganda. You really get a sense that this world is upended. You saw the trailer, there's a sort of the missing persons board. So you really feel like it's a very dislocated world that our characters are living in, but it's not a traditional dystopic world like Blade Runner or The Road or something that's, it's not. The Los Angeles has survived in a lot of ways intact. There's still palm trees and 90% of the structures are still the same way they were. Sort of like Paris, the Nazis didn't come in and level all the beautiful architecture of Paris. They came in and occupied an existing city, which they left pretty much as it was, even though they were now running it. Hopefully they'll just be horribly cliched and one-dimensional. That's a very good question and a very big part of our thinking. I think that there's a lot of gray in our show. There's not a lot of black and white. So we hope that we will upend some of your expectations about what it means to be an occupier, what it means to be in resistance, what it means to be living in a climate of oppression like this. We've tried to avoid, I think, some of the simple solutions or sort of cliched answers to those questions.
I think that one of the great things about the show is that at its core it's a human drama, and the most interesting villains to us are the people that the humans that have decided to collaborate and serve as kind of proxy government, just like the Vichy in France did. And those people who have been put under the same extraordinary circumstances as everybody else, but that chose to side with the occupiers and why they did that and why they made those choices and how much of their soul they can sell and still look at themselves in the mirror, and those are the true villains. The villains, everybody hated the Nazis. We knew the Nazis were terrible, but the things that fascinated us were the Vichy and the French that these people stormed into your country and took it over, and you decided to sign up with them, and those are the characters that we want to explore.
How does it feel to work with Josh Holloway?
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. Josh and I became really good friends during the making of Lost, and we've been talking for years about finding something to do together, and those things, sometimes it just seems like just talk, and it's hard because you have different schedules. He was on a show, Intelligence, that could have gone for 6 years or 7 years. I was busy with other things. I mean, it was really fortunate that we happened to develop the script just at the moment when Josh was available and looking to do something new. We talked a lot about it being Josh when we were developing it, and we were fortunate enough that we sent it to him first, and we were fortunate enough that he decided to say yes.
Your lead to kind of people who are kind of in the established actor sense in terms of the minds of the audience. What are we going to see from them, or what can we expect from them that we maybe haven't seen on their other shows, their other characters?
Well, I think the fascinating thing about Josh's character when he was in Lost when he played Sawyer was the fact that he's kind of started out as the villain, and then over the course of time, as you learn more and more about who he was, he kind of became the most likable guy on the show, and I think that the true Josh is not at all really like Sawyer, and there's this incredibly warm and very giving and smart guy underneath the facade, and I think seeing a character that's not that guy, that's not the con man, not the guy that's trying to kind of pull things over, and is this incredibly warm family guy that loves his wife and his children, is put in this terrible situation, and just will kind of do anything he can to survive in this world.
Shooting a series in LA is totally awesome. What's the pluses and minuses about not shooting in Atlanta?
We fought really hard to shoot it in Los Angeles, and we were really hoping that we were going to get the new tax incentives. We unfortunately did not win that lottery. We did not get tax incentives. So the bad side and the downside is that it's tougher money-wise. We're really counting our pennies, and we are working really. I mean, we spent a lot of time in budget meetings trying to figure out how we can make the show, for a reasonable cost. The upside is that we wouldn't have gotten Josh. Josh wanted to work in Los Angeles. The upside is we got these wonderful supporting actors, like 3-time Emmy winner Kathy Baker, Carl Weathers, Paul Guilfoyle. I mean, all of these wonderful actors, Kathleen Rose Perkins, none of them would have come and done our show. They all were looking, if we were in Atlanta or Vancouver, they were all available because they were all in Los Angeles. They were looking to do something. They didn't want to go out of town. So I think we were going to be able to populate the show with really incredible actors. But more than that, like, Los Angeles is a character in the show. We really wrote it for the city, and there's this kind of weird incongruity of like this beautiful city of palm trees and sunshine that's in this sort of state of incredible oppression. I think it was a really good parallel to Paris, for instance, which is really, in my opinion, the most beautiful city in the world, and yet, when you see pictures of Paris with Nazi stormtroopers, it's really, that incongruity is really, I think, emotionally affecting. And so Los Angeles was the way we imagined it, and we really wanted to, so we stuck to our guns, and we really, are really thankful that Legendary and UCP and USA supported us in our vision and let us shoot it there.
Yeah, and everything now, it's a rarity to see a show that's set in Los Angeles. It's become, it's getting easier, thankfully, but it was very difficult to shoot there because of rebates and incentives to go elsewhere. So, even though it's the nexus of the entertainment industry, it feels like a refreshing change of pace to see, we're in Los Angeles again, and we both live there and love the city, and I think being able to write to the very interesting, unique geography of LA is really appealing to us creatively.
You have to dress one more. It's the same as
We actually, that's again another very good question. You guys all have to take a lesson over here. We actually do address that in the show. I mean, we are very conscious of the actual specific characteristics of Los Angeles, one of which is that it is, a big center of arts and entertainment. That factors into the show and the storytelling. It also the fact that Los Angeles is an incredible kind of cultural polyglot. There's all these neighborhoods and all sorts of, there's this incredible melange of different cultures and different people, and that also is a part of our show. So we've really tried to have the show reflect the reality of Los Angeles in 2015. Thank you.
Thank you.